2020 has turned out to be a truly unbelievable year. If someone had told me that in the year 2020 the world would be brought to a standstill because of a global pandemic, I wouldn't have believed it. If someone had told me that my place of work, PCC, would have to postpone the delivery of in-person courses for months and figure out how to provide academic and support services through online and remote means, I wouldn't have believed it. And if someone had told me that in the midst of a global pandemic, having to adapt to a whole new way of life, that we'd be actively making change in responses to the voices of Black lives who are organizing, rising, and responding to systemic racism, I wouldn't have believed it. And yet, here we are, 2020, unbelievable. It would be easy to give up when faced with such insurmountable challenges. It would be easy to abandon our work and surrender to the unknown and the unexpected. It would be easy to stop listening to the voices asking for equity and justice in our society. But we don't give up because we believe. We believe in our mission to promote academic excellence as a vehicle to equity and opportunity, no matter the obstacles or circumstances. We believe in our staff and faculty, in their creativity, resourcefulness, and determination to develop and put forth a robust educational curriculum while adopting innovative methods of content delivery. Most importantly, we believe in our students, their resiliency, drive, and grit. Students who already manage complex lives juggling academic, work, and family responsibilities, now having to adapt to the challenges brought about by our current reality. My name is Roberto Suarez, Interim Associate Dean of Students at the Sylvania campus, and your host to the Portland Community College 2020 in Service. We believe.
We believe everyone deserves an education.
We believe in showing up in the community and for the community.
We believe Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
We believe that one person can make a difference.
That education changes lives.
That if we work together as a team to support each other and our students, we can get through this.
We are the best at finding opportunity that lies within each challenge.
We believe in celebrating the gifts of all ages.
We believe everyone deserves access to education.
Lifelong learning is a right.
What we're doing still matters. We've always been focused on teaching our students resilience and preparing them for an unknown future, to think critically, to work creatively, and to live responsibly. That hasn't changed. In fact, it's probably more important now than ever.
We believe in science.
We believe that PCC Panthers are tough and tenacious, and we can get through anything.
We believe in the difference that you make every single day when you show up for this community.
The role of a college in the community is not only to use education to open doors, but to support and improve the lives of the people in the community.
We believe in our students.
We believe change is possible, and we believe we can do better.
Welcome, friends. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. Throughout our program, we'll showcase the experience of staff, faculty, and others who continue to work behind the scenes keeping PCC going. Among these, let's take a moment to recognize our board of directors who volunteer their time and talent to help guide and lead our community, an especially crucial function during these times. To our board of directors, thank you for your continued efforts and dedication to PCC. And speaking of leadership, I'm honored to introduce a person who, with great skill and grace, has been tasked with leading this community. Our president, Mark Mitsui.
Thank you, Roberto, and good morning, PCC. Wherever you are right now, thank you for being with us in this virtual space. I hope you are remaining safe and healthy. I know that we had hoped and planned for some limited return to in-person instruction and operations this term. I sincerely commend the teams, divisions, and departments that thoughtfully prepared safety plans and developed creative and careful procedures for in-person operations. Like many other higher education institutions across the country, as the number of COVID cases and deaths in our state and community continued to climb, we were forced to reevaluate our institutional capacity to ensure uniform and consistently safe and healthy environments and practices, while also significantly expanding our number of course offerings. I know that there are some people who will disagree with our decision to remain in an online and remote format, but I've maintained from the very beginning that I would rather err on the side of caution than to exacerbate the risk to our community's health and well-being. Please continue to visit PCC's COVID-19 site for continuous updates and information. Even though we are dispersed, I invite you to join me in acknowledging the land upon which we all are guests. Today, we recognize and honor the original occupants and stewards of the lands we now occupy and this place where we are guests. We celebrate and recognize the original inhabitants of the Americas, their contributions, sacrifices, and the price that was paid for the creation of the United States, Canada, and the nations of Central and South America. We honor the survival, the adaptations, the forced assimilation, and the resilience and creativity of Native peoples, past, present, and future. Let's always consider our collective responsibilities to the people and land, both here and elsewhere, to stand in solidarity with Native, Indigenous, and First Nations people and their sovereignty, cultural heritage, and lives. Let us also take this opportunity to center together and to recognize the toll that this pandemic is taking on our global, national, and local communities, especially our communities of color and those who are historically most vulnerable and marginalized. COVID-19 has put into stark relief the deep historic and systemic inequalities that undergird our society. This pandemic has laid bare and reinforced the intersectional forces of racism and anti-Blackness, ageism, ableism, and generational poverty. The community colleges have always been part of the answer to these inequities in our society. It is, in fact, my impression that what draws us all to work in this community college world is the equity impact of the mission of the community colleges. The notion that no matter what neighborhood or zip code you're born into, you deserve a shot at a better life. That notion is deeply embedded in our marrow. In fact, not long after World War II, the 1947 Truman Commission report called for the development of a national network of community colleges to democratize higher education. GIs were coming back home and using the GI Bill to attend college. People like my father-in-law, who used it to attend what is now called Centralia College. Like most of his peers, he was the first in his family to attend post-secondary education. Or my own dad, who, like many GIs of color, after fighting fascism abroad, came home to experience racism. College offered a way up and a pathway to a better life for himself and his family. These new students, like every new demographic wave of students after them, changed the face of higher education. The Truman Report emphasized providing equal opportunity for all aspiring students, irrespective of racial, religious, or economic limitations. Equity of opportunity is the core of who we are, Democracy's College. The President Emeritus of Miami-Dade College, Dr. Eduardo Padron, used to say, talent is universal, but opportunity is not. The community colleges exist in order to make opportunity as universal as the talent around us. And so it is with this history in mind and the awesome responsibility it brings that we begin our 59th academic year at Portland Community College. I'm so appreciative of the ongoing YES work that many of you are engaged in to realize the original promise of the community college system. Even in the midst of a pandemic, many of you continue to move us forward, changing how we do things from the moment a student hears about PCC to the moment they walk across the stage at commencement, and in so doing, dismantling the systemic barriers that hold so many students back. Thank you for your continued commitment to YES and all that entails. I believe PCC lives in our values, in our commitments, and in our aspirations to continue to learn and to continue to fulfill the promise of being democracy's college. 3 years ago, at In-Service 2017, we began our journey as an Achieving the Dream college. We believed then, and still do now, that the best path toward equitable student success was through YES. In just 3 years, we've already made great strides, thanks to coordinated, collaborative efforts, great and small. We have completely redesigned our academic advising program to better ensure that every student is supported in achieving their goals. We have reimagined our recruitment, admissions, and retention efforts. We have instituted a more equitable placement system in multiple measures, and we've linked student-generated initiatives like the Panther Pantries and the Food Justice Initiative with pathways to opportunity to improve student access to benefit programs like food stamps. Our first affordable housing project is in the planning stages, along with our first Opportunity Integrated Service Center. And this term, we are moving forward our academic and career pathways. These pathways include arts, humanities, communication and design, healthcare and emergency professions, business and entrepreneurship, construction, manufacturing, technology and transportation, science, technology, engineering and math, and public service, education and social sciences. I'm so proud of everyone across the college in every area who's helped us to make such amazing progress in our YES work. I also want to briefly mention the success of the Pcc Foundation's Campaign for Opportunity in exceeding the original goal of raising $30 million for our students. And our Government Relations Office, as well as our state legislators and the HEC and many others, did a wonderful job of reducing the original cuts to this year's budget down to zero, something we are extremely grateful for. Now we are pivoting and planning for the next long legislative session starting next February. Given the holistic nature of equitable student success, all of these efforts help us to move the work of YES forward. And we'll hear more about our YES efforts and how they align with our strategic planning and organizational redesign processes in just a bit. But first, let's take a moment to recognize the tremendous efforts of our faculty. You made the move to remote and online instruction in the midst of the most grave public health crisis of our lifetime, with creativity, brilliance, and a can-do spirit. Thank you. Let's hear from some of these amazing educators.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I want to acknowledge all of the hard work that you've been doing.
I'm excited this term about teaching Math 95. I'll be using my own videos to flip the class. And what that looks like is I have the students watch the videos, and when they come to class, they get to work together in groups, and I'll use the breakout rooms. So I hope you all have a great term.
If I were to give one piece of advice, it would be to record any virtual lectures or live lectures that you're doing. They can be really good resources for yourself to always go back to, as well as really good resources for your students to always go back to.
Hello friends and colleagues. Going remote, I found I can break up my assignments and projects into smaller pieces. Helps our students manage them better and for me to give better feedback.
Nothing in nature blooms year-round. There are periods of productivity and growth, and there are periods of quiet and rest. So remember that when you're pushing yourself to stay up all night grading. Don't do it.
There are lots of great videos out there already. Don't feel the need to try to reinvent the wheel and create all of your own lectures. Take advantage of what's there. I like Crash Course for Biology. I've used a lot of it.
The more we can create a collaborative, nurturing learning community, fostering inquiry and curiosity, the more we'll be able to trust that the learning will follow.
Keep it simple, keep it real, keep it fun, and just let your students know we are all in this together.
Take risks. We're asking our students to take a lot of risks, and we can do it too. Take risks, especially with technology. I know it's scary, but it can be fun. Thanks, and have a great year.
Don't forget that we're all human. Let's be compassionate with ourselves the way we are with our students. And let's reach out and support each other this year. It's going to be a good one.
Together, we can do this.
The ingenuity demonstrated by our faculty inspires us to continue to innovate and find new ways to better address the needs of our students. Innovation has also been a guiding principle of PCC's Yes to Equitable Student Success initiative, led by our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Katie Ho, and our Vice President of Student Affairs, Heather Lang. Let's welcome Katie and Heather.
Greetings, PCC community. We are excited to have an opportunity to once again share an update on YES, or Yes to Equitable Student Success, a topic that continues to become more and more relevant for the college as our local and national landscape changes. As we continue the journey to accomplishing our equitable student success goals, it is clearer than ever that our YES work is about dismantling racial injustice. We do this by turning inward and taking responsibility for reforming our own systems, policies, and processes through an anti-racist lens. We individually and collectively have a responsibility and the power to fundamentally change the way we serve our community to ensure that our most underserved students are brought into the center of the work we do. By doing so, we know this will ripple out significantly and benefit our entire community.
As we enter our 4th year of membership in the National Achieving the Dream movement, we'll be hitting some key milestones, thanks to the countless hours of effort put in by so many of you. We remain committed to our YES vision, which is as follows. Recognizing the unique value, perspectives, strengths, and challenges of every person who comes to PCC for education, all students will achieve their academic goals through equitable support, quality instruction, clear guidance to persist, and an unwavering commitment to completion shared by the entire college community. And to achieve our 3 broad goals, that our student population reflects the diverse communities that we serve, that our students graduate at a constantly increasing rate, and that we significantly reduce or eliminate disparities in student outcomes. This year, we will be holistically integrating and reimagining our students' educational journey through designing the next phase of our academic and career pathways. Over 120 faculty, staff, and managers are now part of one of 6 academic and career pathways teams that will be focused on beginning their design work this year. These academic and career pathway teams kicked off their work this summer, and they're part of a larger network of teams that frame our YES structure and actions. This slide represents the YES body of work as we head into the new academic year, and I'll share just a few highlights today. We've re-envisioned the oversight structure through a new YES steering committee that better represents and threads together our overall work and creates stronger connections with governance bodies, including the Educational Advisory Council, the District Student Council, and the District Leaders of Diversity Council. Advising redesign reforms continue with a major implementation milestone this fall, when every PCC student will be assigned an academic advisor by their chosen pathway. Statewide Pathways to Opportunity goals will continue to be realized locally at the college, with implementation of a benefits platform called SingleStop, increasing resource connections during new student onboarding, and collaborating with student and faculty leaders working to address food and housing insecurity. New task groups are forming to elevate and bring to center the experiences of some of our most marginalized students, including our English as a second language and adult basic education students. We'll also continue the critical work that instructors have been leading in reading, writing, and math reform. We've established equitable student success metrics that will provide us the disaggregated understanding of our student progress, retention, and completion. And with the backdrop of considerable enrollment uncertainty, our strategic enrollment planning efforts, which includes strategic course scheduling, will be reinvigorated in order to reach the communities that need us the most.
Throughout all of this work, as we examine what needs to be reframed and rebuilt in our systems, policies, and processes, we must ensure that we center racial equity and inclusion. What we collectively design and rebuild must be nimble and responsive in ways that will allow us to achieve our equitable student success goals and meet the needs of the communities we serve. Yes work is the work of our college at every level, department, and team. The urgency of this work has been amplified by our current external dynamics. Our yes work is not meant to be a quick fix or window dressing. It is meant to be deep, systemic work that fundamentally shifts and challenges how higher education has been defined. We have learned so much from our journey so far, and we will continue to keep improving on how we do this work for our students. We look forward to your continued engagement.
Hey guys, listen, I just want to say thank you to PCC for everything you guys have ever done for me, man. Your PCC is amazing.
Thank you to PCC for not keeping anyone in the shadows.
Thanks to all the staffs who always keep the campus so clean and beautiful.
Thank you to all the amazing teachers and staff that helped me realize my fullest potential while I was attending PCC.
Thank you to all the exercise science staff and faculty. You were all a great source of help and always encouraged me when I really needed it.
Thank you to all the faculty and teachers who have helped me get to where I am today. I appreciate the opportunity that I've been given to share my story.
Thank you to everyone at PCC for making me feel like I do belong in college, and in doing so, no big, you helped me get into all these schools.
Thank you so much.
Our students are the lifeblood of PCC. As the needs of our students change, we must focus on the ways we practice and operate in order to be a future-oriented organization that can quickly adapt and grow to meet the needs of our students and our community. Here to give us an update on PCC's reorganization efforts is Executive Vice President Sylvia Kelly.
Good morning, PCC friends. My intent today is to update you on the progress of our strategic planning and reorganization initiatives. Who among us could have even imagined that this work would be happening in our current environment? I surely couldn't have, but here we are. Today, I want to talk about this work in 5 basic areas. First, why we've been doing strategic planning, especially at this time. Secondly, our process and involvement so far. Key planning priorities that have emerged. Strategic planning's relationship to our reorganization, and what's next. Our recent experiences with the COVID pandemic and social unrest, among other important crises, demonstrate how quickly circumstances, priorities, and the need to respond rapidly can change. We've truly been in crisis response mode since last March. Of course, this isn't a sustainable way to run a college, which makes our planning even more important. Even though our current 5-year-old strategic plan couldn't anticipate a pandemic, We know that this crisis and the economic collapse have accelerated certain trends that we can and must prepare for in this new plan. And here are some of the trends we've had our eyes on. Students' online experiences have trained them to expect convenient, high-quality, personalized service. They'll continue to be increasingly diverse. Students want tangible results, so gaining concrete skills for employment is at the top of their list. They demand learning to be entertaining, purposeful, and experiential, to be real. Automation will phase out millions of jobs, and artificial intelligence will change existing jobs and create new ones. Community colleges will walk a tightrope, if you will, because there'll be growth in some areas and reductions in others. We'll need to balance continuity and change, which means ambiguity at times. While we remain dedicated to open access, at the same time we must improve equitable opportunities and completion outcomes for our students. And that's mostly why we embarked on a process building upon the 2015-2020 strategic plan and our President's work plan to reimagine PCC's next 5 to 10 years. We made a valiant effort to have a collaborative and inclusive process. Yes, COVID threw us for a loop, and we had to do some things differently. But last summer, we formed the 21-member steering committee from across the college, which also included several community and business leaders in our region. And I really want to thank this dedicated group for their incredible work, time, and the energy that they committed. Many of you here today participated, more than 400 actually, in at least one of the 49 in-person listening and engagement sessions between October and January of 2019. You talked to us about your priorities and your hopes for the future in those sessions. And we also broadened this input through a college-wide web survey. I'm really excited to say that the culmination of a massive amount of work that I don't have time enough today to describe in detail has resulted in 4 key themes or priorities. And you'll see this in the graphic that's up on the screen. Work groups led by steering committee members have explored these priorities or themes and developed action plans for each of the initiatives that will be detailed in the final plan. I'm hoping you can see the colors by the graphic, so I'll refer to that in each of those ways. The pink team's priority is belonging. That sense of belonging cultivates assurance that each individual student matters to the college. They feel valued and safe at PCC, and they trust that they are indispensable to us. Their personal identity and contributions matter, and they feel comfortable presenting themselves authentically. The green team's priority is systems of educational delivery. Here we're exploring learner-centered, culturally responsive, anti-racist pedagogies that will advance equitable student success. The purple team's priority is workforce development, to strengthen and build partnerships with our business and industry, to create a path for students' employment and their professional growth. The blue team's priority is sustainability of our enterprise. Even more true now in our new world, we must diversify revenue streams that advance equitable student success. The one college model will become our norm as we expand sustainable operations across the college. We intend to develop systems that are responsible to our stakeholders and agile in the face of change. This work is wrapping up as we speak today. By the end of September, there will be action and operational plans connected to the themes so that we can begin to align our priorities with our biennial budget. We've never had this before. Please know, before it's finished, there will be another opportunity for your input, so please watch for this soon. It'll be a college-wide survey for the draft plan. We want to know what you think. Ultimately, we'll be presenting a 5 to 10-year plan that meets the future needs of students and local workforce and industry partners. Equitable student success will be its foundation and priority for every single action. Following review and approval by our Board of Directors, PCC's new 5-year strategic plan will enable us to evolve and adapt to stay relevant for those we serve. Integrate equity and inclusion strategies, objectives, action plans, and measurements into decision-making and budgeting processes. Reimagine PCC's path forward, improving completion rates and reshaping the student experience. Stay competitive, ensuring PCC's long-term viability. To achieve the aspirations of our new strategic plan, we'll need to continue to move forward with organizational restructuring, which began last year. Reorganization and strategic planning are fundamentally linked, and we're aligning them as we move in tandem through these processes. The infusion of diversity, equity, and inclusion values throughout both plans continues to be essential to our vision for equitable student success. Reorg isn't on a fast track to achieve a quick fix. It's realistic to give ourselves the next year to implement the entire restructuring in alignment with our strategic plan. This timeline will enable new academic and student affairs functions to create greater efficiency, synergy, and partnerships across the college. Finally, the cards we've been dealt over the past few months have forced us to deeply explore who we are and who we want to become. Given all of the difficulties, challenges, and opportunities, and true to PCC's culture, we have found strength with one another's support to make critical decisions based on PCC's mission, values, and commitment to those we serve. Current crises have pointed to the power and potential of unity as we plan a new vision for the future that frankly remains in question, but that offers much in the way of opportunity and hope. Thank you for your time and attention this morning. Take good care of yourselves, everyone. I miss seeing all of you in person. Goodbye.
One of the things I miss most about being on campus are the unexpected interactions with fellow colleagues from all different departments and areas of the college. In preparation for in-service, I had the opportunity to connect with several of our fellow staff, making a difference every day as we keep PCC running. Hello, everyone. So excited to see everybody here. What are some of the major impacts, or in what ways would you say that COVID has changed your job during this time?
When COVID was first ramping up around the March timeframe, we had a very large amount or influx of service desk tickets come in about people needing to have access to remote work. So that caused hundreds of help desk tickets to come in. Generally, we were able to get them resolved within a couple of weeks, surprisingly enough. We've got a lot of very understanding customers who are amazing during these times, and the folks on my team have adjusted pretty well to the new environment. So it's actually gone pretty smoothly.
I'm curious, for those of you whose work is so closely tied to the campuses, like Terry or Jimmy or Arturo, what experiences, how has COVID shifted the work that you've been doing?
The pandemic happened at a time where it's the growing season. So we weren't allowed to be on campus except for once every 2 weeks. At first, the grass is growing like crazy and the trees are hanging over the sidewalks, making it harder for people to pass by. And we just started getting an overflow of like weeds. So we had to watch all of these things take place for a while without being able to do anything about it, which was kind of frustrating for somebody that, really enjoys being outside and doing their job and making things look really nice. So finally we were able to come back on campus, and we've got like half a year or a year's work that we're behind on. We at least got a lot of recognition from the community as well as people that worked for the college as soon as we were back, and we were able to make the campus look presentable again and not like a zombie apocalypse had taken place.
It's kind of a strange thing that once a building becomes unoccupied, it no longer holds its occupants. The deterioration happens very quickly. And so to instill life into the building, you have to maintain it. And that includes coming in and cleaning it. And also there's many levels outside of maintenance, outside of my crew. The custodians are actually the true heroes. They come in, they sanitize, they make sure the buildings are fresh and presentable for people to come right back into it.
And Terry, how are things looking on the campus safety and security side?
Well, the thing that has remained this constant for us is the safety and security. We've continued and will continue to have a responsibility to minimize safety and security issues.
I would say access has become one of the dispatcher's main duties, whereas it was a little bit of that, and we had officers go and let people in and stuff like that, but we've definitely have a bigger volume now.
Can you speak to how your job has maybe forced you or how the circumstances have forced you to be more creative around your work?
I'll go next. I was going to say, it's funny because I think about, how we've been motivated to be more creative with our work. We had to look at what we were doing and say, well, now it doesn't work this way. So I think of design within the process and being creative with that. I know one of the big things that I'm super proud to be a part of, and I'm so happy because I get to collaborate with so many different team members across all the campuses, is designing and building what we have now, which is our virtual help area within the MyPCC. So looking to say, okay, well, what was the process where students were connecting with staff and support on campuses, and in that design, how can we now push it to online, because we still want to be able to build this experience where students can engage with us outside of the phone, outside of an email, and let them know that someone is here and someone's on the other end, and you just have to call through our Zoom area and we can talk to you, and really bring back the we are PCC, we are here for you.
Our focus is kind of on vigilance and on monitoring and making sure that people's identities are safe, and that the data that people use is safe. So that's been a pretty straightforward process for the most part.
In what ways do you think that the work that we're doing at PCC, the way that you are dedicated to your work at PCC, matters more than ever during this time?
We're working towards the same goal, and one of those goals is being able to be equitable for our students and for each other, and to really be there for them as something a little more stable, because everything else might not be, especially with not just the pandemic, but with all of the social injustice that a lot of students are talking to us about and dealing with.
We are trying to actively listen, assist in whatever way that we can, get people the resources that they need in order to either learn or just be there to listen and have somebody to vent to a certain degree. We recognize the need for people to be social, and we feel it also.
I think it's really important right now to show our resiliency. So our ability, it's you don't really know who you are until you go through hard times.
I think for me, the one thing that I'm going to be taking away is sort of the work-life balance that I've been able to find. I think I really leaned on kind of the physical separation between my home and work to find that balance. And so throughout remote operations, being able to develop that skill of finding ways to manage that internally and finding that balance and being mindful of where I'm at is something that I'll be taking back with me to campus.
What do you want the PCC community to know about your job, about your coworkers, and what it takes to keep the college running at this time?
I think if there was a message from FMS to everyone about coming back and I guess as a whole, what we would like to say to them is let them know that we're here and we're available and that we're a resource to make sure that everyone is safe inside their buildings, inside their space, to come back after COVID and even before COVID, that you can depend on us to make sure that you have everything you need to use your space effectively to help the students.
We realize that our real job is community service. We've got a lot of tools in our toolbox. We really like it when people approach us and go, I don't know how to register for a class. Who do I need to go talk to? We know who they need to go to. And we do want to help people. So I hope people learn that it's okay to talk to us. We are approachable. We are friendly. We are here to help people.
Thank you so much. You guys have, you are an example of the many folks who are a part of our PCC community, working hard behind the scenes on our campuses, doing a lot of the work that maybe some of us aren't even aware is still going on. So it's so nice to have the opportunity to interact with all of you. Thank you. I'm really, really grateful to have had this chance to share with you this last hour. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to meet with these members of our community, all of whom are represented by PCC's Federation of Classified Employees and PCC's Federation of Faculty and Academic Professionals. Let us now welcome the presidents of our unions, Jeff Kreider and Frank Goulard.
Hi everyone, Frank Goulard here. I happen to teach students math at the Sylvania campus, and I'm also president of the Federation of Faculty and Academic Professionals. Welcome back, those of you that were gone this summer from teaching or working. Welcome back to fall term, and we look forward to an exciting year. It's a never, ever changing year, of course, with the pandemic and the precautions we're needing to take as far as a school, as far as a county, as far as a state, country, and of course the entire world we need to take in order to preserve some safety and precautionary measures so that our students and our staff are taken care of and we have the best education possible. I'd like to invite you to our upcoming meetings, which you'll see published on our website, www.pcccffap.org. And we will have some membership meetings coming up in early October. And also, following this meeting, in-service meeting, we will have one at noon hour of Monday, September 14th on Zoom. So look for those in your emails if you haven't seen that already, the specific Zoom link address, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. So in the meantime, I look forward to seeing a lot of you in Zoom, of course, and we'll keep in touch by email as well. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great year ahead for you and your family.
Hi there, Jeff Kreider here. I've given my in-service address in my public safety uniform, in a suit, something you don't see very often, but never in a t-shirt and shorts from my virtual home office in Newburgh. I've worked at PCC for 17 years, starting at the bookstore, and currently in the Department of Public Safety. As with many community members, my connection with PCC goes much deeper than that. I am also a PCC student. I'm the proud owner of 3 associate degrees. My high school graduation was in the Sylvania gym. On my way to becoming an Eagle Scout, I earned my swimming merit badge in the HT pool. My partner Sarah was also a PCC employee. The Sylvania Child Care Center cared for her 2 sons while she earned her associate degree in criminal justice at Cascade. Our boys are now young men and are contributing to the growing enrollment numbers as they both take classes at PCC this fall. PCC is important to me. It's important to us. It's important to many people. And a big part of that is because of people who work here who care. I was recently re-elected as the president of our classified union, the PCC Federation of Classified Employees. I humbly serve as a representative of some of the hardest working, lowest paid, most marginalized and underappreciated benefited employees at PCC. Classified employees care, and we make a difference in the lives of our PCC community members every single day. I feel sort of odd recording this video a couple weeks before it airs. There's a lot going on right now. These days, a lot can change in 2 weeks, so I'll do my best to be positive and stick to the point of this event, which I've been told is to inspire PCC employees and welcome you back as we begin another fall term. So, welcome! To those of you still working at PCC as we begin our first new school year of remote operations. The inspirational theme of this year's in-service is We Believe, which is based on a hand-lettered sign made by Kristen Garvey in Wisconsin on November 9th, 2016, which read, In this house we believe Black lives matter. Women's rights are human rights. No human is illegal. Science is real. Love is love. Kindness is everything. This sign quickly evolved into the now common sign you see above me, which has been adapted and adopted by people everywhere fighting for justice. I appreciate this theme as it rings true in my ears as a leader of an organization that embraces these values at our core. Our union, like many others, fights for the wages, benefits, and working conditions of not only our members, but all workers. In our House of Labor, we also believe a few other things. The historic March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, 57 years ago on August 28th, was about both the civil and economic rights of Black people. We believe that labor rights are civil rights. We believe that healthcare is a human right. We believe that those who have and those who can must help those without. We believe that we are stronger together. We believe that decisions should not be made about us without us. We, the classified employees of PCC, keep this college running. And we believe that we can all do better. I hope to see my fellow classified employees at our 1 p.m. virtual union in-service lunch meeting. Thank you very much. Solidarity forever.
As we reach the end of our program, I want to take a moment to thank everyone involved in creating this event. A lot of planning and preparation went into bringing together all of this content to get us ready and energized for what promises to be a very unique academic year. We believe that we have what it takes to make this year great. We believe that we can rise to the occasion, overcome our challenges, and continue to serve the needs of our community. And we believe that at the center of everything we do are our students, who inspire us every day as they forge ahead, term by term, year by year, doing the work necessary to fulfill their goals and dreams. We finish today's in-service with the story of one such student, Goshana Bell, who is this year's Rose Scholar. Her experience is a reminder of the value of our work, even in the face of great adversity. It is a reminder of why it is so important that we continue to believe.
I am strong, I am smart, I am confident, I can do this. I look into the mirror and say these words nearly every day. They're a reminder to see myself through the eyes of people who believe in me versus people who tell me I'm not good enough. I am good enough. But it took me a long time to figure that out. My mom got pregnant with me when she was 15. My father was 28. They didn't stay together long because he was incredibly abusive. There's a long story there, but the short story, my father got custody of me. At the age of 8, I weighed 35 pounds. Children's Services actually has on file that on one of their visits, they found me with a bruise on my back in the shape of a footprint. They took me away from him. But in the 5th grade, they said he'd be a better father, and I was sent back. I was 10 years old. At the time, I loved Wonder Woman. I loved how strong, smart, and confident she was. Me? I was shy, insecure, and afraid. Unfortunately, my father wasn't better. I dreaded the nighttime because he would come into my room and I was 10 years old. When I told an aunt about my father's abuse, my entire world collapsed. I attempted suicide a number of times and still have a scar on my left wrist. I was admitted to mental health ward twice, once at 11 and again at 12. Eventually, I re-entered the foster care system and at 15 was put up for adoption. With everything going on, school was challenging. My IQ was supposedly high, but I was insecure in my abilities. Even doing my homework, I was so afraid of doing it wrong that I would rather not hand it in. The fear was hard to shake. At 18, a month before my 19th birthday, I married a man whose mom would tell me that women weren't smart and couldn't live without men, who would put me down and he never stood up for me. In fact, our first Christmas, he told me that if I told him what I wanted, it would ensure I did not get it. I tried to change myself into who they thought I should be. I had 4 pregnancies back to back and pushed my body in ways that were honestly life-threatening. And with the birth of my first child, nearly did die. I was diagnosed with central nervous system fatigue and adrenal fatigue because I wasn't taking care of myself. Everyone else came first. One regret I don't have is making my kids a high priority. I wanted them to know they were loved beyond measure and that I had their back. So I homeschooled my kids. And when they started swimming competitively, I became a coach to help out. Then I turned 40. I felt like I was dying on the inside. I needed things to drastically change. My daughter, Lizzie, I view her as the unbroken version of me. One day, just a few years ago, she told me, "You know, Mom, with you and Dad, it's like a Band-Aid. You just gotta rip it off." I'd been a stay-at-home mom for years. I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have the means to support us. It wasn't gonna be that easy. With my daughter, I want her to know that she has every right to make her own decisions, that her opinions matter and her voice counts. I realized if I want that for her, I have to start living that for me. And I need to be an example to my boys of a strong, confident, capable woman. I told my husband I wanted a divorce, and I enrolled at PCC in the exercise science program. If you look at me, I don't seem like the ideal fitness trainer. I'm not fit, and half the time I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Yet every single day, my classmates and instructors, and especially my children, encourage me to keep going. I spend hours and hours doing homework. I stress out about exams, and I've got a 4.0. This program has shoved and yanked me from my comfort zone. It has been incredibly painful. But at the same time, I'm becoming so much stronger. The Pcc Foundation Scholarship came at a time when my children's father told me that my going to school was dependent on our relationship status. I wasn't going back. This scholarship allowed me to be free. Here at PCC, I get to start taking care of myself so I can heal. Here, I get to start saying what I need. Here, I'm learning to believe in myself. This program is helping me find my way back to me. The me that I lost as a kid. And my own kids. They're my biggest supporters. When I told the kids that I'm being encouraged to get my PhD to study the neurobiological impacts of exercise on foster youth, but that I'm scared to fail, their response was, "Mom, if anyone can do it, it's you." And you know what? They're right. I am smart. I am strong. I am confident. I can do this.